Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Please be upstanding for the Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, the Deputy Mayor's Chaplain, the Chief Executive and the Monitoring Officer.
Thank you. Sorry about the slight delay. We have a different chaplain this evening, the Reverend Michael Lees, who will say the opening prayer. If any councillors wish to leave before prayers, may they do so now, please, if you wish the opportunity.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we meet this evening, we come being very grateful for all the benefits we receive and for those who are willing to accept the responsibilities of local government. We thank you for the diversity of opinions and for those being watchful to ensure fairness and justice in local affairs. And so we ask that you will help all of us to be conscientious in playing our part as good citizens within our community, so that the quality of administration is reflected in the quality of our lives, and so making our borough one in which people are happy to live. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Yes, thank you. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Apologies from Councillor Beardsall and Councillor Brennan.
Thank you. Item 2, are there any declarations of interest?
There are none.
No. I think everything's going wrong this evening.
I would sack the Chief Executive, Madam Mayor.
Shall I swap with yours?
I don't think any of them.
Anybody?
No.
No, I don't think any of them are working. But we'll push that one there.
Mine won't work. I've got a red light.
It'll get better in a minute. Right, item 3. To approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 7th of March 2019. Councillor Robinson. I'm sure we will hear you.
I'd like to move those minutes. Thank you.
Second then.
And I would like to second them, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
All those in favour of the minutes, please show.
That's carried, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do you have the minute up? Shall I sign them after?
You'll have to sign them.
Yes. It's got to get better in a minute. I've got two lights. Come on now.
in the meter. Sorry.
Oh, right.
It's because Christine's got her,
I'll sign after.
Christine's got her lights on.
Yeah.
So that's why.
got to swap again, Christine. It's a bit like a comedy show, isn't it? I believe it's my address now. Could I have the lectern, please? Right. I'll just find those. Right. Have a good evening now, and hope nothing else goes wrong this evening. On the one hand, the year goes by so quickly, and when you look back, the year's been packed with events. Is that now coming across? Thank you. Christmas was spent at the Friary Drop-In Centre. It was very memorable and an excellent meal. But as soon as Christmas is over, you're in the home stretch, really, as people often remark to you. The Civic Dinner is a lovely occasion, which was held in the Notts County Cricket Ground Long Room in the Derek Randall Suite, and is an opportunity to showcase the borough with a different theme each year. As you complete your mayoral year, you are asked what have been the highlights. It can be hard to answer as you have the opportunity to meet so many of the residents of the borough, and each occasion is special in its own way. However, top of my list must be when I attended the handover of the Defence and National Rehabilitation Centre at Stamford Park, and I was presented to and able to converse with Prince William and the Duke of Westminster. This meeting this evening is the 118th that I have attended as mayor, and the many fetes, fairs, 100th birthdays, 65th wedding anniversary celebrations, along with church and carol services, have all been wonderful. People are so kind and so appreciative of a visit. For many of these visits, I have been accompanied by my consort, Councillor Francis Perdue-Horan, and I'm indebted to him for his support, and to my fellow councillors too, who have helped me. There's also been fantastic support for my charity, the Nottinghamshire Hospice, and just over £8,000 has been raised. Thank you. It has been quite humbling to visit the hospice several times over this year, and to witness the fortitude of those nearing the end of their lives, and to see the work of the staff and many volunteers who work there. Last year, we all commemorated the end of the First World War, remembering that loss of so many lives, and it was fantastic to see all the special poppy displays throughout the borough. I would like to pay tribute to the team of officers who support the mayor and all the staff at Rushcliffe Borough Council. Obviously, you have most contact with the mayor's secretary, Laura Webb, and my sincere thanks to Laura for helping and guiding me. Having been the mayor previously in 2005 to 2006, I have been able to compare both mayoral years, and much has changed, as has the chief executive, Alan Graham, who started work at Rushcliffe just after I completed that previous year. I do hope this past year, whilst I have been mayor, has not been a contributing factor for his retirement. And I would like to thank you, Alan, in particular for the guidance and help you've given me. It has been very comforting on both occasions when I've been mayor to have such able chiefs whispering help in my ears. It's always a danger that these speeches sound like the Oscar award ceremony, as thanks are given to many people. But I must also thank my deputy, Councillor Mrs. Jeffreys, so ably standing in for me when invitations have clashed. And additionally, I've been served by my chaplain, Canon Anna Haydock, and my cadet, Luke Witham. During the past year, I've tried to answer every request for a mayoral visit. If an organisation or individual wants the mayor to be present, My own philosophy has been to fulfil that wish if possible. The joy expressed by so many people has been ample recompense for the time that you give. It's the young and the not so young who really seem delighted to see you. One of my abiding memories will be of a little girl, she was about 6, if I guessed correctly, at a school in Aslockton, who came up to me and said, after I'd been judging a poetry competition there, "Well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, for attending. So good of you." And I thought, you know, at that age, such confidence. During this past year, I've tried to answer every... Oh, I've read that bit, sorry. The joy expressed by so many people has been ample recompense for the time given. It is the young and the not so young who really seem delighted to see you. And throughout this year, I have been the recipient of many complimentary remarks, too, about the borough of Rushcliffe. We live in a very green and pleasant borough, with many charming and talented citizens here. It's also been a privilege to visit other parts of the county and the city of Nottingham to network with their representatives, who is often remarked, commonly known as the chain gang. Finally, and I mentioned this last time when I retired as mayor, because I think it's very funny, it was a very amusing North Country mayor who retired with the words, "As I come to the end of my morality year, I now revert to my normal self." So I step down with some sadness, but much pleasure and thankfulness to have had the honour and privilege of being your mayor this past year for the second time. Thank you all most sincerely.
Oh, well.
Now, everyone, I'm very sad that my chaplain, Canon Alan Haydock, couldn't be here this evening. With a change of date, he was already booked up. And so I will be presenting to him at a future date the plaque that honours the fact that he served us so well. I'd also like to thank my cadet. Is he here this evening? Oh, yes, I can see he's here. Luke Witham, would you like to come forward? And we'll have a photo as I present the plaque to you. That's this one, isn't it? Please.
Thank you, Ron.
We move on to item 5. Councillor Robinson, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to lead this speech about yourself and over your year. And it has been a very incredible and very unique year in terms of the opportunities that it's presented. And as you mentioned, Madam Mayor, I was fortunate enough to accompany the Mayor to the DNRC with the Chief Executive for the opening there, in which Prince William, the Prime Minister, and the Duke of Westminster were there. It was a fantastic day and an incredible legacy that will be left in Rushcliffe for many years. And I'm delighted that the Mayor represented the borough at that event. Also, as you've mentioned there, the number of centenary events for the end of the World War as well. I think that's been incredibly moving. And I'm delighted that all our villages and all our towns across the borough really did reflect the real gravitas of such a unique event. And again, I'm delighted, Madam Mayor, that you were able to represent us at those wonderful events. There was a couple of events that actually do stand out for me. One of them, again, that we were very delighted to host was the start of the stage of the Tour of England for the cycle race from West Bridgford, which was incredible. We had over 250,000 people out there. But the abiding sight was actually almost a fight of our mayor and the chairman of Nottinghamshire County Council, who was actually going to press the start button. So to see these two ladies grappling at the start really took the thing away from the actual start. And I'm actually delighted that our mayor won. So if you have a look on RTV, you will actually see our mayor actually pressing that switch. And it actually really helped that she was actually dressed in yellow as well, symbolic of the actual event itself. I'd also just like to compliment Councillor Purdue Honor as well for accompanying the mayor around. It's long nights and long days, but incredibly rewarding. I think one very, very lovely evening was we had at the Proms in the Park, where we actually joined you again, and we sat there listening on a fantastic summer's day. And it was wonderful, wasn't it, to hear the band and to hear the absolutely packed to see actually West Bridgford, all the residents of West Bridgford and around our borough attending such a wonderful event at that time. So, Madam Mayor, I know it's your second term in there. I think you've done this borough incredibly proud of what you have done for us all. So thank you very much indeed from all members and the way you've represented us. As I say, it is an incredible position to have. You've had a unique experience over this year, and a big thank you to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The opposition
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, the Labour Group supports the previous comments with the vote of thanks for you as a retiring mayor. If any of this sounds familiar, Alistair helped me with some of the wording. Madam Mayor has been a long-standing borough and town councillor, as well as the Mayor of Bingham and the Mayor of Rushcliffe previously, and has chaired more committees than I've had hot dinners. I'm told by the Rushcliffe Borough Council website, so it must be true, in her spare time she enjoys needlework, flower arranging and painting in watercolours and oils. She has earned the honour and deserved the privilege of becoming mayor. With this, she swiftly and expertly eased back into her new role as mayor, with enthusiasm and good humour, I'm told. In the first month following her inaugural meeting, Madam Mayor completed a wide range of engagements, including leading the ceremony to raise the Union flag in honour of the Armed Forces Day. This is which culminated in the celebrations of the spectacular Proms in the Park event, which has already been mentioned, and also visiting the Nottinghamshire Hospice, your chosen charity for the year, to begin the year's fundraising. This is an organisation, as we've mentioned, that provides high-quality care services to adults who have terminal life-limiting illnesses, and also to their families and carers, and makes such a difference to so many people. This is an organisation that clearly means a great deal to Madam Mayor. From regular reports to the Council, frequent articles in Councillors Connection, and your Twitter account and Facebook, which were invaluable for me writing the speech, I know that this year has been a very busy and successful year, with a diverse range of civic engagements, community and voluntary events, hosting functions and meeting representatives. And this is Alistair's best bit. The list is extensive, and the Mayor has enjoyed and valued them all. So we've singled out a few for this special occasion, a few fewer than Alistair normally would. Yeah. There were a huge number of school visits and the trip to Lark in the Park to promote Rushcliffe's wonderfully successful participation in the Tour of Britain. Apparently you even managed to get in some training of your own, riding a bike in Bingham Town Centre attached to a smoothie making machine.
Really? Yes. Couldn't get off.
As has been discussed, it was your honour to help start the race. My children were very excited to be part of that spectacle as it came through in Compton Acres. As the centenary year for the armistice of the Great War, Madam Mayor attended a number of poignant events across the borough, visiting the 504 crosses on the croquet lawn at West Bridgford, being part of the naming of the streets in Bingham after fallen soldiers, and the unveiling of the huge displays in the reception of this building, which were created by local school children, community groups and individuals across the borough. And there were many more, reminding us all in the next generation lest we forget. The Mayor also played a part in our family's favourite Christmas event of last year. No, it was not Panto, but the Christmas lights switch on and fireworks in West Bridgford. This was just one of the many events at Christmas that the Madam Mayor attended and enhanced throughout her second term as Mayor. Other duties were to ensure that council meetings were conducted in a seemly manner, at which times can be a demanding task. I am reliably informed that you have managed to keep us all in order and that you were firm and fair to all sides and acted neutrally and effectively. Finally, we would like to congratulate you on raising £8,000 plus for your charity of the Nottinghamshire Hospice. Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Labour Group supports the motion of thanks.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The momentous events that you have witnessed and been part of over this year have already been mentioned, so I will not bore everybody with repeating them. We're just, on behalf of our group, wanted to thank you for your second stint as Mayor, and especially for the prominence and support you have given to the Nottingham Hospice. It's already been mentioned that you took to cycling, so we imagine as you cycle off into your retirement from Mayor and into your hobbies, we look forward to the opening of a gallery of your flower arranging and your painting. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for the way in which you've conducted the meetings, as has been said, with fairness and astuteness. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It seems not so very long ago when I stood in the former Rushcliffe Civic Centre in 2006, giving my appreciation of Councillor Maureen Stockwood as Mayor of the Borough of Rushcliffe. The Green Group would like to thank the Mayor for all her hard work as first citizen of the borough in 2018 and 19. In particular, we appreciate her support of events in West Bridgford, such as Lark in the Park, the start of the Tour of Britain cycle race, and the commemoration of the end of the First World War with the crosses on the croquet lawn. We really appreciate the time she has given across the whole borough and her successful fundraising for the Nottinghamshire Hospice. It is so important that people nearing the end of their lives and their families and friends receive high quality support, and the Nottinghamshire Hospice provides that service to people in Rushcliffe and throughout the county, especially through the Hospice at Home service. This service allows people to stay in the comfort of their own homes while still receiving excellent nursing care, advice and emotional support from highly trained professionals. We hope that Councillor Mrs Stockwood will be able to take a well-earned rest, enjoying the company of her children and grandchildren, and we've all seen the same website, and having time for some painting, needlework and flower arranging. Thank you again, Madam Mayor.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Right, thank you. Oh, sorry, thank you.
Madam Mayor, on behalf of the independent councillors, I'd just like to thank you for everything that you've done for the borough over the course of your term of office. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, Madam Mayor, I'd just like to make a presentation on behalf of the borough to commemorate your year. So, if I could just, first of all, another picture updated from the previous one that's standing there.
Right.
So, there is the picture there.
Thank
so,
you.
if you'd like to take
Thank
that.
you very much.
And then, of course, your chain to wear as you go forward.
Thank you.
And of course, then this is actually a book just to commemorate with pictures and things
Oh, lovely.
for your reflection over the year.
Thank
Thank you
so
very much indeed.
Thank you. You can see from that I put on weight again.
I couldn't say that more. Yeah.
So many lovely receptions. Right, thank you all very, very much for that. We move to item 6, which is the election of the Mayor for 2019-20. Could I invite nominations for the office of Mayor of the Borough, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I'm pleased to nominate Councillor Christine Jeffries to be Mayor of Rushcliffe for the new year. Christine's lived in Cockgrave for over 54 years with husband David, and they brought up their family there. She's passionate about Cockgrave and Rushcliffe in general, never misses an opportunity to talk about and promote the area, unless there's a cricket match on, and that might take priority. Christine is a retired teacher and still occasionally bumps into ex-pupils and their families, so she should be very good at keeping an eye and control on, of us. She's also a very experienced councillor, having been a Nottinghamshire County Councillor for Cockgrave in the 1990s. She's now in a third term of Rushcliffe Borough, and Christine is also a long-standing member of Cockgrave Town Council. We mustn't forget she's done this all before, because as well as being your Deputy Mayor, she has also been Mayor of Rushcliffe some 10 years or so ago. The main thing about Christine is that she's one of the most caring, compassionate and understanding people you ever meet. She takes a great, genuine interest in the lives and well-being of everyone she knows and meets. Very important points. I therefore move that Councillor Christine Jeffries, once again, serves as Mayor of Rushcliffe for the 2019 and 2020 civic year. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Upton.
Very pleased to second the proposal. Councillor Jeffries has lived in this borough for many years. She's a people person. I have great respect for her. She'll be an excellent ambassador for this borough council and the first citizen. So very pleased to second the proposal. Thank you.
Are there any further nominations?
No, Madam Mayor.
So all those in favour that Councillor Mrs Jeffries be elected Mayor of the Borough of Rushcliffe for 2019 to 2020, please show.
Carried, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Jane off.
Christine, you need to take, she can leave hers on the table. Christine doesn't, yeah.
Who are Christine? It's a bit heavy. It is heavy, yes. Congratulations. Yes, you can get it now.
If you accompany me to the...
Councillor Mrs Christine Jeffries. I declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. This one's got a cushion. Right. Now then, where are we?
So now, yeah. So you can now respond to your appointment once I announce you the charity.
Okay, right. Councillors, colleagues and friends, thank you very much for allowing me to become the Mayor of Rushcliffe for the coming year. It's a great honour, and at the same time it's a very humbling experience that I go out and I represent 114,500 people who live in Rushcliffe. Awesome. I have done it before. It's most pleasurable. You meet people who actually want to see you. They want to talk to you and they want to find out what you're doing. It's absolutely magic. I enjoyed it every absolute minute. David and I married and went to Cockgrave in 1963. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. What a marvellous place to be. We're so fortunate. And it says on all our literature, great place, great lifestyle, great sport. And during my year as mayor, I want it to become known as a place where we all have time for everyone else. We have so many lonely people out there. What a difference it makes to their day if someone smiles at them, if someone makes a comment. As an Anglo-Saxon coming from Norfolk, I'm obsessed with the weather. You're never stuck talking about the weather. Is it going to rain? Is it a bit warmer today? Is it colder? Was it better last week? What do you think it's going to do at the weekend? Marvellous. Just give up a few minutes of your time. You're going to make such a difference to people who possibly don't see anyone from one week's end to another. It's not necessarily old people that are lonely. It is young people too. And I want us all to be there. And when I have my next meeting, which will not be followed with nice things to eat and drink, I warn you now, we're short of funds. I want to be able to ask you, have you all spoken to someone since our last meeting that you didn't know before? And I expect all your hands to go up. Please do that for me. Now, my charity, I have two charities. Before I had Notts and Lincolnshire Air Ambulance. And I have chosen as one of my charities them again. Sadly, over the last couple of weeks, they have come to our aid quite close to Cockgrave. Now, the Lincs and Notts Air Ambulance is one of the UK's leading helicopter emergency medical services charities. Every single year, money is raised to fund over 1,000 potentially life-saving missions. And each one of these potentially life-saving missions costs an average of £2,500. Later this year, they will start to fly 24 hours a day, enabling them to respond to more patients than ever before. And as a charity, they will need to raise £4 million a year to fund to be operational 24 hours a day. And they can only do it with our support. My other charity is Headway.
The principal objectives of Headway Nottingham are to promote the understanding of all aspects of brain injury and to provide information, support and services to those living in Nottinghamshire who have sustained a brain injury, along with their family and carers. Each week, Headway supports 86, that's approximately, clients in their day centre. Each month, they give telephone and emails advice to 50 approximately people newly experiencing the effects of brain injury. And each year, they provide over 5,000 workshop and activity place to their clients. Every 3 minutes, someone discovers that they have brain injury. It may be something which sustained falling off their bike when they were young, falling over, and so on. They so deserve our help. I can only do this job if I have the support of all of you. I rely on all of you. And in turn, we rely on the people in Rushcliffe who look after us and provide our every need. Already, I have 5 people set aside to look after me and care for me. And we want to help all those people who are less fortunate than we are. We are the lucky ones. The fact that we're all here together this evening proves that. So please, I need all your support, and I hope that I will have that. Thank you very much. Now then, we are about to consider nomination for the election for the office of Deputy Mayor of the Borough of Rushcliffe for 2019 and 2020 civic year. And I invite nominations for the office of Deputy Mayor of the Borough from you. Do I have any nominations? Yes. Councillor Mutler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for that excellent speech. I would like to propose Councillor Sue Mallender to serve as Deputy Mayor for the forthcoming civic year. I've known Sue for quite a while now, and I have proposed once before, but I'm not going to go down on one knee this time. Sue was first elected to serve as a borough councillor in 2003. But she's been an active member of the Lady Bay community for many more years than that. She's lived there since 1979. She's worked there as a teacher at Lady Bay Primary School. As a teacher, she's well versed in keeping rooms full of unruly children in order. I'm looking at you lots, you'd better beware. Over the years, she's combined her time as a counsellor with working at Bulletin Hall as a real-world science officer, with working as a Unison steward, with working with deprived children in various parts of the city, with looking after her own now adult children, Lizzie and Alice, as well. She does like to keep busy. She's been an active member of the Green Party for many years. She joined in 1983 when it was still the Ecology Party. She stood in many elections, local ones and European ones. She was a candidate in the 1989 European elections, which were the last ones held under the first past the post. If they'd been under PR as they are now, then Sue would have been one of the 12 Green MEPs elected at that election. In fact, she went over to Brussels with the others to claim their seats at the time. She's also got many years' experience chairing Green Party conferences. She's very good at keeping order and procedure. So again, watch yourselves or you'll be in a hell of a lot of trouble. I'm convinced she will do an excellent job as Deputy Mayor, and I propose her for that post for the forthcoming civic year. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Robinson.
Yes, Madam Mayor, the Conservative Group would like to second the proposal for Councillor Mander to become Deputy Mayor. So I'm delighted that Councillor Mander has put herself forward. I'm not quite sure I can match that proposal there and history of the Green Party, and perhaps you should have been in Brussels, well, at least until Thursday anyway. So you're going to have to put up with being Deputy Mayor instead. In all seriousness, Madam Mayor, Councillor Mander has been an excellent supporter of mayors going back many, many years, and it's great credit far and wide that the mayor goes. You've turned up there and you've been a wonderful supporter, and we're really thankful for that, and I think it's a fantastic reflection of your commitment to the borough, and that's why we're absolutely delighted to support you becoming the actual Deputy Mayor. I'll say you'll be a fantastic green ambassador, but I use the word green with a small g, not a big G I hasten to add on there. As you know, it is absolute key policy of this borough in terms of our sustainability, in terms of our environment, and I think you'll be a great ambassador both as Deputy Mayor and hopefully then as Mayor going forward. So I'm very delighted that you will be supported by Richard, who I'm sure will be continue to be that great support through this term. Long nights, early starts, etc. But as I say, as a group, we're delighted to support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. All in favour? Oh, sorry. Oh, are there any further nominations?
No, there are not.
No, as there are not. All in favour that Councillor Sue Mallender be elected Deputy Mayor of the Borough of Rushcliffe for the year 2019-2020, will you please show?
That's unanimous, Madam.
That's unanimous. So I declare that Councillor Sue Mallender has been elected as the Deputy Mayor of the Borough of Rushcliffe for the year 2019 to 2020. Would you like to come? This gives me enormous pleasure.
Thank you.
Lovely. Congratulations.
If you can join me.
If you would go down next time.
Yeah.
Right.
Fellow councillors and other people who are here tonight. Yesterday before noon, I wasn't expecting to be standing here as Deputy Mayor, as at 12:01, that was the time when my mobile phone rang, and it was Alan Graham here, asking me what was stopping me from becoming Deputy Mayor. Was it the office or the office, really? Is it the office itself, or is it the offices where I work for Nottingham City Council? And it was the latter. I was rather worried about time when next year comes. But after much deliberation and discussion with managers and so on, 24 hours after that phone call, I made another phone call and decided to accept this role. And I thank very much my proposer and seconder for their very kind words. Thank you all very much for the honour of entrusting me with the office of Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
I wish to ask if we have nominations for the leader of the council. Councillor Mason.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations on becoming Mayor too.
Thank you.
I would like to propose Councillor Simon Robinson as leader of the council for 2019 to 2023. I feel he has done an excellent job so far, and I look forward to working with him for a few more years yet. So I would like to propose him as leader. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Everdeen?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to second Councillor Robinson in his appointments as the leader for 2019 to 2023. Thank you very much, and congratulations to you both up there.
Well, thank you. Are there any further nominations?
No, there are none then.
There are none. So I ask you to vote on the proposal and declare Councillor Robinson as leader of the council. All those in favour that Councillor Robinson be appointed as the leader, please show.
That's carried, Madam Mayor.
Is it? Oh, right. I didn't see all the hands around. I therefore declare that Councillor Robinson be appointed as the leader of the council for the year 2019 to 2023. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Right, so I declare that Councillor Robinson has been appointed, and I would like you to announce your cabinet.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor, and may I also extend my congratulations to you.
Thank you.
No one would guess you were a teacher at one time, would they? That's all. And congratulations now to you, Councillor Mander, as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to quickly announce my my cabinet going forward. First of all, for the community and sustainability portfolio will be Councillor Debbie Mason. For the finance and contracts will be Councillor Gordon Moore. For business and transformation will be Councillor Andy Edivin. For the portfolio of housing, it will be Councillor Roger Upton. And I'm also delighted to announce our new cabinet member for the environment and safety, Councillor English, at the end there. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Right, thank you very much. Right. Yeah. Right. Oh, needs one. Have you other announcements that you would like to make? Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a couple of things to say. First of all, I'd just like to welcome all new councillors here tonight. It's the first full council from all parties, from all spectrums of the political world it is. I think there's something that binds us today, and I think your chaplain said it very well in the prayers.
Yes.
And it's about the responsibility of office. It's about that we all serve the 115,000 people out there. So I'd like to welcome all councillors, as I say, from all our parties. I'd also like to thank you, all our guests here tonight. It's a real privilege to have you here in this wonderful chamber on a very special occasion. Now, it is a special occasion because, as we mentioned, we are actually having the very last full council with our Chief Executive, Mr. Graham. And I'm about to make him incredibly uncomfortable for the next 2 minutes. Because as my colleagues on the management team here will know, there is not a person on this world who hates being spoken about more than Mr. Graham.
That's true.
So I'm going to take great delight over these next few minutes talking about him. because he will get his own back in terms of doing it. Because over these last 13 years, our Chief Executive has attended over 60 full council meetings and 150 cabinet meetings. So we find him here today at his very, very last, and it's a very, very significant time for him. Now, having known Alan quite well over these last few years, we've actually seen him in very different guises. Firstly, the Master Chef. This is the man that actually cooks for staff upstairs in his apron and cooks very fine food up there. He's a great golfer. He loves to hit the fairways sometimes. I use the word loosely. But Alan has a real passion for golf, both playing in this country and other countries as well. What people don't know also, he's also a very fine actor. And I have taken the pleasure of seeing him as the innkeeper in My Fair Lady. And also the captain of the ship in also one of his musicals as well, which I can't remember actually what it was. Actually, it was, wasn't it? You were the musical name.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, what it was. So we've seen that delight.
It was me.
But also, there is another guise for Mr. Graham when he goes out at night time that suddenly becomes Scottish and he wears a kilt at all formal events. So, ladies and gentlemen, you may well see Alan's knees more than once in the future. Now, in terms of everything that Alan does, it's a great testament that it underpins everything he does, his commitment and his professionalism. Now, interestingly, when I was looking at this, I was looking at Alan's journey to Rushcliffe, which started, I say many years ago, but he's actually joined us in 2006. And he's joined us via Amber Valley, Hull, and a place called Holdiness, that I've never heard of, I have to say. But eventually he saw the Mecca of Rushcliffe in 2006 and joined us there. I just want to quote you something that Alan said at his interview, that his ambition for Rushcliffe was to be excellent and create the great practice that we can all celebrate and share. 13 years on, I think there's been some very big statements nationally. Having won the senior leadership team in the country, having last year become Commercial Council of the Year, become the Entrepreneurial Council of the Year, and just this month, the only district council in the whole of this country to be nominated for the full Council of the Year, a decision that will be made in June. So I think it's fair to say, Alan, that that ambition has been fulfilled. And you have made Rushcliffe a fantastic place, not only to live, to work, but just be a part of, whether you're an officer or a member. And throughout, what has underpinned this time over these 13 years is that what you have delivered, and it's been underpinned by the ability to knit great teams together. And it's a great testament to my our management team here and many, many who've been predecessors as well. To nurture and develop key individuals, then professionalism and commitment at all times. And also that ability to influence and shape national policy. It's a real appreciation, I think, all of us, the role that Alan has actually played there on a national stage. But in leaving this authority, I thought about what the legacy that Alan will actually leave. And we can talk about many projects that many in the room will be familiar of places like Bridgeford Hall, the regeneration of Cockgrave, establishing Streetwise, the Young Project. But I think actually there are two projects which really stand out for me. I think the first one is the very building we're in today. A £16 million project delivered nearly 2 years ago now, on time. And when I bring people to this building from other councils, MPs, nationally, when they walk through that door, they actually say, wow. And this is a fantastic testament to our Chief Executive, who led this team many years ago, when it was just really, I say, a dream. It's a bit theatrical now, but it was, and we followed that dream, and it was delivered, and what we have now. And this building will live for a long time, and it's a great legacy to Alan in what he did. But I also think his second legacy is the people he has touched within this authority who is developed and nurtured. And there can't be any great testament than our future Chief Executive, Kath Marriott, who's actually worked with Alan for a very long time. And he has absolutely given his all, not only to staff, but to his members, to new members coming on board, and to residents, and to many, many very influential committees that we've actually seen, that we've actually served on, I say both regionally and nationally. So, Alan, it's a great testament to you. I know you haven't enjoyed the last few minutes, but I have talking about you. And as I say, it has been a real credit to you that what you've actually done for this authority. And I think we have a presentation for you from that side, from the Mayor. So on behalf of Rushcliffe Borough Council, we'd like to do that. We wish you very much well. I'm not going to call it retirement, because as we've talked many times, you're not retiring. It's just a new life. So on behalf of Rushcliffe, you accept this award, Alan. Thank you very much.
Now, in giving you this, with it comes a huge thanks, not only from everyone else, but especially from me. I can remember the first time I saw you and met you, and you've treated me with extreme kindness, courtesy throughout, and I shall miss you very much, but I wish you so much happiness.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. I don't know what am I meant to do now, or that.
Say a few words.
I'll say a few.
Well, you
okay,
put it down
I
there and
will.
take it out after.
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Mayor, I didn't think my evening could get any worse as we've gone through some of what's happened
It's
tonight.
that sort of evening.
And not I expected, but it is a moment that I look back, and Councillor Robinson alluded to, I actually started at Humberside County Council back when I was a 17-year-old as a filing clerk, and it's hard to actually get to the point of realising where did those years go. I think we all experience that in our lives, and there's been a realisation that's where I am, and I appreciate tonight. I appreciate there's new members in the room, and you're the talent of politicians for the future, whatever your political persuasion and your commitment to the community, and that is something that is I think so important in our society, that there are community leaders willing to stand themselves on a doorstep and then lead their community into new things. But it would be remiss of me, if you forgive me, I do want to say a few things. I suppose I didn't quite expect it now, but at the same time, I know I've got to say some things really. And I want to thank. I arrived at, as you say, Rushcliffe back in 2006, and I distinctly remember the interviews with some members in this room. And I remember the building we were in at that time. I actually thought the building we were in, I was thinking it was one of the better council buildings I'd worked in. And as Councillor Robinson knows, more recently I've shown him some of the others, which included Amber Valley, where it's not to the same degree of what we got here. And in fact, the old building was still one of the better buildings worked in. But I distinctly remember my final interview room, and Councillor Clark will remember this, of the room I was in with a big picture with a big swan. And it was the most aggressive and depressing picture I'd ever seen. And I was trying to be motivated about how we were going to take this organisation and work for the future. And it doesn't seem like 13 years ago that the night I was appointed, as Councillor Stockwood said, she was the departing mayor, and Councillor Cranswick was being made mayor in the evening. And I stood after that event, and I stood with Councillor Clark, the then leader, and we had a discussion about the vision of this building is great, but actually it could be something else, and that we needed to move forward with that. And here we are 13 years later, as Councillor Robinson said, in a totally different building, and it's been an absolute privilege to be part of that. But it's also been a privilege that you've actually intertwined my life with coincidences, which, bear with me for the burden, but that night when I was appointed, it came as a total shock to me that Councillor Cranswick went to the same school as I did in Hull, which I didn't know. I think, God bless him, because he's no longer with us, I think he would have been distraught that you had appointed me from the school at what it had become from what it was when he had been at the school, because it had been an old grammar school and it converted to a comprehensive. So it wasn't the same school in many ways, but it was a bond that united me with Councillor Cranswick at that time, that were both from Hull, and he was quite proud really that somebody from his old school had become Chief Executive of Rushcliffe. So that was the first coincidence. And then many years later, as an incoming leader came knocking, I find I was at the same school with him as him in Dunstable, Councillor Robinson. And we both had gone to the same school. So that was an odd coincidence.
Some years above me, though.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But it was another coincidence. And then to top it, the third coincidence then was, as I've gone through this, I've sort of recognised that I shouldn't deny my past, which I had done slightly because of the circumstances. I'd had to move from Dunstable up to Hull with my parents. And but then I found a new revelation that Councillor Adair had resided in Dunstable, and we were both closet Luton Town fans. So, and it's been a revelation this year that I've actually been following Luton. I've been to a few games. I even went to Kenilworth Road only just before they got promoted, and I had a real realisation about my career at that moment, that I was sat a block away from where I was when I was 8 years old, watching Luton Town for the very first time, and Malcolm McDonald played for them, those who are old enough to remember. And that was a perverse thing. It's a ground that's past its day, but it was actually, here am I in a totally different circumstance. And it reminded me the connection to your roots, which is so prevalent. So it's been full of those things. I would like to just say, if I may, I'm sorry I go on a little bit, but there's things I do want to say. The achievements, if somebody asked me what the achievements are, clearly, we've talked about this building. That is clearly something that I'm extremely proud of, but also proud of the way the borough has worked together, the achievements of how members and officers have worked together. I think nationally, I can show you many, many authorities where that relationship isn't what it could be, and therefore I genuinely believe the community suffers when that doesn't happen right. Where it works, it is powerful, and I think that is what you see in Rushcliffe. Where you work, and clearly there'll always be political difference, but where you work for the benefit of the community, it brings something very special. So the culture and the team environment, both for members and officers, is an achievement I am extremely proud to have been part of, to have led, and to have influenced. But it can't be done on my own. And I'm very proud, as Councillor Robinson said, of the staff that we've had, not just here now today, but some of the staff in the present. I've had some of my biggest ups and biggest lows whilst I've been with you in these 13 years. It's been life-changing. I've lost my father, I lost my brother. And we won an award, and we had the high of winning that award on a Thursday night, and on the Sunday I had the devastating phone call of a Section 151 officer who passed away with a heart attack. And taking the organisation through that trauma was something I wouldn't want to experience again. But I remember those people with fondness. I remember some of the councillors, Councillor Fearon,
Yes,
Councillor Fearon, Councillor Cranswick, and others that are still around, Councillor Bennett Smith, and people like that, who were helpful in influencing it. And of course, Councillor McInnes, who I think is in the audience this evening, who was tolerant of listening to me at times when I had to give him some hard messages, or indeed other leaders such as Councillor Jones as well. And I apologise if I've ever upset them. So what's my learning points? I'm coming to an end, don't worry. So there are learning points. This is my moment of confessing. I do make mistakes, despite that I denied them. And mistakes and things go wrong sometimes, as you have seen tonight. But it's never done with the intent, it's done with good intentions. And the apologies if things have never, sometimes I have made those mistakes or we've got things wrong. I would apologise. But that's how we learn, and that's how we get better, is because sometimes we have to fall to make sure we are able to make that recovery. I think my other learning lesson is I know one of the hardest things when I become a chief executive is imparting wisdom for Mrs. Marriott, is sometimes the hard bit when you're as a chief executive is actually you're under huge pressure to be helpful rather than being right. And there's a difference. When you're right, it's the right thing to do. You're actually being more helpful. And sometimes being right is the best advice you can give, and doing it the right way, and not trying to take a shortcut by being helpful or to get to the end result. But what we must do, and the learning lesson is doing it without fear or favour, but giving people the opportunity and understanding of why that advice is there. And hopefully it's accepted, but if it's not, just being clear the advice has been given. And then finally, the learning lesson is, and this has been an emotional thing for me over the last year, is actually accepting that you've done something good and that I've done something good. That hopefully I have been the leader for both the staff and the organisation as you as councillors that you can be proud of. And I've got to recognise that I've actually done that, because as Councillor Robinson indicated, I find that very hard to talk about myself overall in general and to recognise that contribution. It's others. And I am very clear, it isn't me, it is a team effort, but I have had that privilege of leading and being able to lead, and it's something I'm very gracious for. And my final thing I want to say that I am so grateful for is the value and the culture that we have created overall, both as members and officers. But in more recent times, within our staff cadre, of recognising it's okay to not be okay, because over that 13 years, and you might see I'm getting emotional, that actually I've had dark clouds and I've had issues over years that I've had to deal with for many, many years. And it's only recently I've started to address that, and that's been part of the coming to a conclusion of my career and deciding now's the right time to go. I remember somebody saying when we were at Stamford Hall, sometimes you've got to recognise when it's the right time to go, when it's at the top. Hopefully I've done that, but I've done it with the right intention of releasing the brilliant talent you have as your officers moving forward. And together, I believe this council can go even further, and it will be the great place to live. I apologise I've never moved into the borough, but that's another story for another time. And Madam Mayor, thank you for allowing me to say these few words. Thank you.
Bless you. Right, we now come to the appointment of committees and member groups for the coming year. And I ask you to refer to the supplementary pages 10, 1 to 16 on the appointment of committees and member groups for the coming year. Councillor Robinson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move the proposal set out there, which refer to paper 10, pages 1 to 16, for the appointment of the committees and member groups for 2019 and 20.
Right. May I ask if there is any...
Thank you. I would like to second the recommendation. Thank you.
Right. Is there any discussion on this? Are you all in favour? Would you show?
That's unanimous, Madam Mayor.
Right, thank you. Right, we now come to the approval of timetable of meetings for the coming year. You'll find this agenda paper 11, pages 17 to 19, and I ask you to approve the timetable of meetings for the coming year. Councillor Robinson.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I'd like to move this motion to approve the timetable of meetings for 1920.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Mrs. Mason?
Thank you. And I would like to second that as well. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Are you all in favour? Would you show, please?
That's unanimous.
I think that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we come to the appointment of representatives of outside bodies for the coming year. This is paper 12, pages 17 to 20, on the appointment of representatives to outside bodies for the coming year. Councillor Robinson.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to move that proposal. I would just like, please, to make one slight amendment, which is to 13, which is a local area forum for West Bridgeford, and that Councillor Beardsall should be against the Ed Walton ward for the local area forum for West Bridgeford.
Okay.
But subject to that, I'd like to move the motion, please.
All right, thank you. Councillor Mason,
And I would like to second it.
thank you very much. Anyone else? Right. Would you all show if you're in favour, please?
That's unanimous.
Yeah, I think that's unanimous. Thank you. So that is carried. Right, can I thank you all for attending? And I now say that this is the end of the meeting, and I'd like to ask all of you to move into the reception area where there are nice things to eat and drink. Thank you.